Hello! Okay, so the purpose of this video is to basically show you how to create a line of best fit given a scatter plot. Okay, so let's say we have a scatter plot here that shows the number of hours studied and the test scores for 20 different students. Okay, and let's say we want to create a line of best fits using specific points. Okay, so let's say we want to use 3 comma 61, so I'm guessing that would be this point here, and we're trying to create a line of best fit between that point and 27 comma 89. So 27 comma 89, I assume it might be this one. Okay, so generally what we're doing is we're just going to try to create a line. I'll try my best to draw a straight line. Yeah, so something like that. So we're trying to create a line through those points. Okay, so I put some steps here to help you guys out. So you see on the top here, I put some steps here. So let's go ahead and just go through each of the steps. Okay, step 1. So what we need to do is we need to find the slope between the 2 points. So we need to label x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so basically we're finding the average rate of change between the 2 points. So slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So basically 89 minus 61 divided by 27 minus 3. Okay, so if I do that really fast, the numerator I get 28. 27 minus 3 is going to be 24. Then I got to do 28 divided by 24. And it looks like if I do that correctly, that's going to be about 1.166 with the bar over the 6. So let's just say approximately that's going to be about 1.167. Okay, that's going to represent our slope. Okay, step 2. It says now we want to choose an xy coordinate. So any xy coordinate. So you see we can choose this one or this one. So it's either going to be this point or this point. Just for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to choose the first one. So let's say we choose this point here that I boxed in green. Okay, so our point x comma y in this case is going to be 3 comma 61. Okay, step 3. Now what we're going to do is remember the equation for a line. Maybe I'll write that on top here. The equation for the line is y equals mx plus b. Hopefully you guys remember that from Algebra 1. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to plug in our point. So we're going to plug in 61. And then we need to plug in our slope. Our slope is going to be this 1.167. And then x is going to be 3 plus b. So that's going to be step 3. We're using our slope and our point to solve for b, which is the y-intercept. Okay, so if I do some math and I just do that, 1.167 times 3, so this is going to be about 3.5. So this is going to be 61 equals about 3.5, 0 I guess, and then plus b. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to get b by itself. So basically what we're doing is we're subtracting 3.50 from both sides. Okay, by doing so, let's see what happens. 61 minus 3.50, so that's about 57.5 equals the y-intercept. That's going to be our y-intercept. Okay, so now we want to create an equation. That's going to be step 4. Okay, so we want to create an equation. So y equals mx plus b, and we're going to use our slope that we found earlier. So we're using this slope, and we're using our y-intercept. So our y-intercept is, let me draw it a little bit better. We're going to use what we have here. Okay, so we're going to use our slope 1.167. And then x plus, and then our y-intercept is 57.5. Okay, so that is going to be our answer. So let's think about this conceptually as well. So the y-intercept is, well, b in this case, that's where it crosses the y-axis. So it's about 57.5. It seems about right. Slope, yeah, it's positive. It's increasing. It's gonna be something like that. I guess that makes sense. Okay. And then now let's go ahead and answer some of the rest of the questions. Okay. So next rest of the question. So it says letter B. It says use the equation to estimate the student's score if they studied for 12 hours. Okay. So what that means is if you look at the x, this is the x and this is the y-axis, right? So the x-axis, that tells you the number of hours that the student studied for, right? So in this case, x is 12 hours. Okay, so we're going to use this equation, the one that we found earlier. So y equals 1.167 x plus 57.5. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to plug in x in here. Okay, so this is y equals 1.167 times 12 plus 57.5. Okay, and then you're going to have to use a calculator. So 1.167 times 12. So this is going to be 14.004. So yeah, 14.004 plus 57.5. And that looks like that's going to be about 71.5. I'll just round yeah, to nearest tenth or something, 71.5. Okay, so that's going to be their score, about 71.5. Maybe I'll just put an approximation. So approximately 71.5 points. Okay. That's how many points they're going to get if they study for approximately 12 hours. Let's see if that makes sense. So let's see, like this is about 12, about 71. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Okay. And then letter C. So it says use the equation to estimate how many hours the student studied for if they receive 82 points on the test. Okay, so this time we're using the same equation. So y equals 1.167x plus 57.5. So this time I'm giving you the amount of points. So this time y equals 82. Okay, so 82 equals 1.167x plus 57.5. Basically what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and solve for x. So solve for x, subtract 57.5 from both sides, and then what we're going to see if we do that, so 82 minus 57.5, this is going to be 24.5 equals 1.167 times x. Okay, then we need to solve for x, so we need to divide. So we're going to divide that 1.167. And then x is going to be, let's see what that is, 1.167. So it's going to be 20.99. I'm just going to round this. So actually, if I wanted to be specific, I guess this is going to be 20.99 hours. So approximately, so 21 hours. So that means in the context of this word problem, this says that he will receive 82 points if he studies for approximately 21 hours. So let's think about that. Let's see if that makes sense based on the line that we have here. So 21, 80, do something. Yeah, I mean, yeah, 80. That seems about right. So something like that. Okay, so that's basically how you answer the first one. Okay, let's go down and answer the rest of the problems. Okay, so it says scatter plot shows that population in an abandoned mine during the past 8 years. Okay, create a line of best fit using the points. Okay, so let's see. So we have 1 comma 327 over here. And the other one is 7 comma 215. So basically what we're doing is, if I just draw a nice line, hopefully I draw that line good enough. So something like this, we're trying to create a line of best fit that goes through those points. Okay, so step 1, refer to the notes that I mentioned earlier. We need to find the slope. So slope y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. If I go ahead and label, this is x1, y1, this is x2, y2. Okay, so 215 minus 327 divided by 7 minus 1. Okay, so 215 minus 327, that looks like that's going to be a negative 112. 7 minus 1 is 6. So let's see, well, negative 112 divided by 6, that's going to be about negative 18.66 bar over 6. So this is approximately negative 18.67. Okay, step 2, we're going to choose any xy value. Let's say I just choose the first one. I'm just going to choose x comma y as 1 comma 327. Okay, step 3. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and use our equation. So remember the equation for the slope of a line, for the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. Okay, so we're going to use y. So y is 327 0.7. M in this case is our slope, so it's going to be negative 18.67. X is going to be 1 plus B. Multiply that out, 327 equals negative 18.67 plus B, because anything times 1 is just going to be itself. And then we need to add. So we're going to add 18.67 to both sides. Okay. So let's see what that becomes. 327 plus 18.67. So this means our y-intercept is going to be 345.67. Oh, very interesting numbers. 345.67. That's going to be our y-intercept. Okay. Then our next step that we want to do is, given the equation of line y equals mx plus b, we're going to go ahead and plug in what we know. So we know our slope and we know our y-intercept. Maybe I'll circle that a little bit better. This is our y-intercept, and this comes in right here. Okay, so y equals, so negative 18.67 x, and then plus 345.67. And there we go. That's basically how you would create your equation, your line of best fit. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to use the equation to predict the number of bats in 16 years. Okay, so we cannot really see, well, after 16 years, it's going to go off the page here. But, well, just by looking at this, it should be kind of low. Okay, but as you can see, a decreasing trend. So in this case, 16 years, well, this means the number of years that it's passed is going to be 16. So x equals 16. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use that equation. So y equals negative 18.67 times 16 plus 345.67. Okay. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and calculate. So negative 18.67 times 16. So this is going to be negative 298.72 plus 345.67. So whatever that is, looks like it's going to be about, so I'm just going to put equals. So this is going to be 46.95. In this case, 46.95 on this graph is going to be 1,000 bats. Okay, 1,000 bats. So in other words, there's 46,950 bats. Okay, so it's basically about how much we can round this. We can round this to 47,000 bats if we wanted to. Okay, and then let's say we use this equation, the one that we have earlier here. We want to use that equation to predict how many years it took for the abandoned mine to have a population of 230,000 bats. Okay, so what we're looking at is somewhere, let's see, based on the graph, I'm just going to mark it. So probably somewhere about here, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, the way I'm getting that is basically 230,000, right? 230,000 bats is the same thing as saying 230, and then I write 1,000 bats. Okay, so we're going to use this 230 in our equation somewhere. So we're going to use y equals, and then we're going to use that negative 18.67x plus 345.67. Maybe I should have wrote this up here. Now I think about it, you know, like that's where I got the equation from, just so you guys can kind of see where I'm getting it. So for letter B, we plugged in x. Okay, this one, I'm giving you y. I'm giving you the output. So y in this case is going to be 230. Okay, so we're going to use this 230. We're going to plug it in for y. 230 equals negative 18.67x plus 345.67. Okay, so now in order to solve for x, okay, generally what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 345.67. So subtract 345.67. So whatever it is, I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator, my handy dandy calculator. I don't know what happened to the 7 there. 230 minus 345.67. So it's going to be a negative 115.67 equals negative 18.67x. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we need to divide. We need to divide this, and then we can go ahead and solve for x. So x is going to be negative 115.67 divided by negative 18.67. Okay, so this looks like x is going to be 6.1955 or so. So I'm just going to write this here. Basically, x is approximately about 6.2 years. Yeah. Hey, that seems kind of like what we have up there, about that much. That seems about right based on our prediction, about 6.2 years. All right, and now we're going to go and talk about the last problem. And I'll see you later. Okay, bye. Hello. All right, final problem. Okay, so let's say we have the scatter plot here, and the data shown represents the population of the United States in millions between the year 2000 and 2017. Okay, so basically what we want to do is we want to create a line of best fit using certain points. So I'm going to use, we're going to use this one, 3 comma 290, and we're going to use 13 comma about 316.25. So looks like it's going to be that one. So if we were to just create a line, I hope I can draw a good line. Oh gosh, that's not a good line. Whatever. Better with a ruler. But basically that's what we're doing. We're trying to create an equation of a line for this. Okay, so again, first step, what we're going to do is we need to find the slope between the 2 points. So again, this is x1. I'll write this better. Okay, this is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. Okay, so that's our first step. So we need to calculate the slope. y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So 316.25 minus 290, and we divide this by 13 minus 3. Okay, so basically what we have, I'm just going to just calculate that for you. 316.25 minus 290. This is going to be 26.25, and this is 10. So 26.25 divided by 10 is going to be 2.625, something like that. Okay. Step 2, we need to identify y value. I could choose this one if I wanted to, but either one, you can use this one or this one. I'm just going to use the first one that I see, just easiest. So I'm going to use x comma y as 3 comma 290. Step 3, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create the equation of a line. So y equals mx plus b, and just going to go ahead and just plug in. So as you can see here, this is our x and our y. 290 equals, our slope is going to be 2.625, x is going to be 3, and then b is our unknown. We're trying to solve for our y-intercept. Okay, so what we're going to do with this is we're just going to go ahead and calculate 2.625 times 3. So this is going to be 290 equals 7.875 plus b. And then we're going to go ahead and solve. So just going to subtract. Okay. So basically if we do that, 290 minus 7.875. So that means our y-intercept, so this is going to be 282.125 equals our y-intercept, which is b. Okay, fourth step, we need to create the equation of the line. So y equals mx plus b. So we're going to use the slope that we found earlier. So we're going to use that and plug it into there. And then we're going to use the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is going to go in there. So y equals 2.625x plus, and then our y-intercept is 282.125. And there we go. So that's our equation for the line of best fit. Okay. So next part says we want to use the equation to predict the United States population in millions in 30 years. So basically, if we do this correctly, it should be way above 330 million based on our graph. I mean, on our line. But we can still do this. So in this case, 30 years. So this means x is going to be 30. Okay. So basically, what we're going to do with this is we're going to go ahead and just calculate this. So y equals, and then 2.625 times x plus 282.125. We're going to plug in the 30. 30 gets plugged into here. So 2.625 times 30 plus 282.125. And do this correctly. And this is going to be, it looks like it's going to be 360.875 million people. In other words, I'm just going to approximate this. This is about 360.88 million people. Okay. Now, I guess that makes sense based on what we have here, right? So, because it's going to be off the graph, we cannot see it. That makes sense. Okay. And the last one, the last part says use the equation now to predict when the United States population was about 311 million people. Okay, so it looks like we're going to use this equation again. So we use y equals 2.625 times x plus 282.125. Okay, so the population was 300 million people. That's going to be y. So y is going to be 311 million. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead based on the graph, what I see on if the y-axis. If we do this correctly, we should be somewhere maybe around here. We'll see. Okay. But this is 311 equals 2.625 x plus 282.125. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and solve this. So what we need to do is we need to subtract 282.125. So 282.125. Okay, so 311 minus 282.125. So this is going to be 28.875 equals 2.625 times x. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to divide. Okay, so we're going to divide this, and this is basically how we're going to go ahead and solve for x. Okay, so 28.875 divided by 2.625, and that is going to be 11. So x is going to be 11. So to predict when the United States was about 311 million people, well, that says after 11 years. So in other words, you could say like 11 years past the year 2000, past the year 2000. So technically, in 2011. So if you want to be very specific, you could write this, or 11 years. That works too. Let's see. Is that about our... Okay, 11 years is actually here. Well, yeah, about close enough. Maybe I wasn't very good with the accuracy, but somewhere around that ballpark, and that's fine. Okay, and that's basically it for this problem, or these problems. Okay, so please let me know if you have any questions on anything that I went over. And I'll see you later. Bye.